actually completely forgot to make this video. I was just sitting here recording my my Astrobot video, and I didn't really stop to think that, like, wait, didn't I do something last night? Something that I needed to cover, something I needed to talk about, something in relation to the gaming industry? Oh, that's right! I actually watched the HBO animated Mortal Kombat movies. So these are like the really shitty animated cartoon versions of Mortal Kombat that cover, like, I think the first two games. Because if you don't know, I went over to someone's house, watched the ending of the first movie, and then like watched like this about half of the second. Okay, so I kind of have a weird perspective on this, but like I saw enough of both to get an to understand like what I was getting into, and that like what I was watching was pure unadulterated slop, and really needed to get called out as such, because I remember when this movie came out, or these movies came out, and I was being told by everyone that these were great movies, that these were great video game adaptations, that I had to go see them as a Mortal Kombat fan, and that these were absolutely worth supporting. And I really did consider going. This is the closest I've ever been to going to like a video game adaptation, because you know, we all know how this goes, because we saw something similar with like the Sonic movies, where like the Sonic fan base was trying to tell us they were like legit great movies, and then they weren't, and then they tried to tell us that they were better than the Mario movies and that they outperformed them or something. It's all just been a giant comb. Okay, nobody cares about the Sonic movies, but like now now that I've actually seen Mortal Kombat, not only is this movie bad, it's like embarrassingly bad. Okay, the animation looks like it was made in Flash. Okay, it looks worse than like animated MK3 like stills. Like, so you know, like I've seen like Flash animations, you know, like back in like 2005 that used the models from MK3 to make better scenes than this, to make better action, to make like, you know, original fatalities and all that. Like, I have seen fan-made animations that look better than this, that have better writing than this, that use the characters better than this. You know, I look at this like movie, and like all it is first of all, it's another retelling of Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. Okay, as if we haven't gotten like a bazillion examples of that. You know, with you know, the original Mortal Kombat 1, with the 90s movie, with the reboot with 9, with the new movies, and now this. And like worse, this is like taking place this came out around the same time that the live action ones were as well. So like on top of that, like you're just covering like ground that's been tread already. Like there's no innovation, there's no growth, you know. Like Mortal Kombat is as stagnant as a DC comic book, with no growth, change, character developments. It's just the same thing over and over again with minor deviations. In this one, like, ooh, Scorpion wins the tournament. Ooh, that's way different. Ooh. And then, like, you know, Liu Kang is just training to fight Shao Kahn or whatever. But, like, you watch this movie and you just get this sense that, like, it doesn't understand how to use the characters. Because like I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at all these characters that like I like and I have a lot of history with, characters that I know by sight, and what happens? Like they do this thing where they just shove all the characters in with like no build up or no like proper usage at all, right? So we get to like the sequel movie, and what ends up happening immediately is that Liu Kang's mom dies. And then it like cuts to like 20 years in the future or whatever. And then like all the guys are like fighting all the other guys. And then like Stryker's there. Now, Stryker, first of all, Stryker was not in the first movie, okay? So Stryker is introduced into this MK2 setting in spite of not being an MK2 character. Why? Because Stryker is not a popular character. So Stryker can just die during the tournament for shock value, which has no real correlation with anything else that's going on, right? You know, you have like iconic characters like Scorpion and Sub-Zero who don't even show up to the fucking tournament, okay, that have their own thing going on. But what you get is this like mess that just doesn't flow together at all. Like you have all these characters that exist that are there, but are basically just standing around watching other people do like one-on-one like confrontations. Like, you do not need a cast this fucking big for a movie like this. In fact, I would say that's probably what they should have done, is like just have smaller casts, make them more intimate, and then just introduce like the other characters like later with sequels, right? You don't need to have every single character from like MK2 in this freaking movie, okay? You don't need to give them all their own arcs and their own all fights. Like, that's another thing too, is that the fights are like 2 seconds long. Like, you see Sonya do like a spinning bird kick for some reason, and then like Shao Kahn like immediately punks her. And like, I say to my buddy, like, how is this fucking tournament structured? Because, like, this is a thing in the video games, too. Like, you know, because we have this problem with Mortal Kombat 9 as well. But, like, you look at this tournament and, like, there's no bracket. There's no rule set. Like, you just kind of see characters just fight each other. And, like, there's no real, like, understanding of the stakes or, like, you know, what happens when you lose. Like, you know, they're told to kill people sometimes, and then sometimes, like, you know, they don't do it because, you know, like, Liu Kang has the shot to, like, kill Shang Tsung, okay? And he decided to do that thing where he's like, I'm going to be mortal by not killing you. And it's like, it's such an obviously stupid thing to do for someone like Shang Tsung. Like, just fucking kill him, okay? He's a piece of shit. And it's Mortal Kombat, so he'll be back anyway, right? You know, that's how they should do it. But they have to do this thing where they have to virtue signal about killing bad people. Like, no, you can't do it. If you kill him, you'll be just like him. Like, it is downright horrible how they try and push this, like, this nonsense, okay? Like, this is actually, like, I think this is, like, a woke thing, actually, is how they try and, like, demonize the idea of, like, giving someone a death penalty, like, regardless of who they are or what they've done. Like, again, you see this a lot in media. It's something that they don't want, is, like, for people to, like, die for the crimes they've committed against other people. But, like, yeah, you look at situations like that, which make no sense, like, you know, in a real-world setting or within the universe's logic. And then it's just on to the next fight. You know, you just see everyone else getting punked, and you just, like, it doesn't leave much of an impression on you at all. There's, like, nothing of value to this movie. You can't even, like, argue that, like, well, at least we're getting to see the plot of the movie animated, the plot of the video game animated. No, because there are better adaptations of this story elsewhere. Like I said, you're better off playing MK9 or maybe watching the 90s movie. Like, I've never seen the 90s movie, but, like, I can't imagine it's worse than this, okay? Like, I can't imagine. Like, you look at, like, this movie and, like, why was this even produced? Why was it made? What purpose does it serve? And most importantly, why did so many people like Angry Joe try and tell me these were good when they first came out? Because I remember that happening. I remember watching that video. I remember him just going like, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing ever. Oh man, Mortal Kombat. Oh, like I saw that happen. And, you know, now that I've seen it, like, I never want to see anything Mortal Kombat related again. It's done. You know, I've been saying this since, like, 11 came out, since, like, the story concluded and there's no real room for any kind of sequel. But, like, the IP's done, okay? It's finished. There's nowhere to go from it. And it's, like, it's projects like this that kind of emphasize why. Like, there's just nowhere for the story to go. You can't have this grim, dark fantasy, like, setting if you're unwilling to kill off characters. In fact, that's actually what made Mortal Kombat so interesting compared to other fighting game IPs, is that, like, how many other fighting IPs do you know where they would straight up, like, kill off the series' main character, Liu Kang, as part of the plot in, like, the 5th game in the series, and keep him dead for, like, a couple of entries after that? Like, I don't think he came back until Armageddon, and that was, like, more of an anniversary thing as opposed to, like, you know, actually something that I think was going to affect the plot in any reasonable way. Like, they committed to the idea of Liu Kang being dead for a couple of entries. Like, Tekken, like, faked, like, Kazuya's death in 4, but like, you know, they undid that pretty quickly. You know, Heihachi, like it doesn't really happen in fighting games, but like MK used to have this sense of like real stakes and things that would happen, but like it's just gotten bogged down by like multiverse shit and like writers who really desperately want to ape the MCU. Like it feels like a superhero project at this point. It doesn't have its own its own identity or its own purpose. Like it's just bottom of the barrel slop made for people like, I don't know, like Video Game Lover 58 who live in their parents' basements, right? Like you look at like, you know, the audience for this and you just kind of shake your head like, who would willingly watch this? Okay, like who would watch this under like any circumstances? And like I made the right call in not watching it when it came out. I'm very thankful I didn't give my money for it. But like, yeah, there are just people who are just like putting this on HBO, watching it, and then just going like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, what the hell is this? Like, you see these situations, and like, I just don't understand why this keeps happening. I don't know if like more of these movies are getting made. Like the way the way these typically go is that they make 2 of them and then stop and then reboot the story again from the beginning. So like that's probably what they're gonna do. I don't know. They'll probably have like an anime version or something. But like I don't want to see this story again. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like 9 is like the definitive entry, and like, you know, 1 through 3, you know, you can use a lot of your imagination for that, how it played out originally. But I'm fine with 9 being a reboot. 9 should have stayed the reboot. Like rebooting it again with 11 was retarded. Rebooting it again with 1 was retarded. Was even more retarded, actually. Like, you look at like where Mortal Kombat is right now, and what you're seeing is a complete and utter train wreck that makes no sense whatsoever. And it absolutely needs to be said that NetherRealm Studios absolutely needs to like really step up their game if they're going to get people back. Mortal Kombat 1 was a complete disaster. Okay, like people like Max Dude lately have been doing this thing where they're just like, oh, no, it recovered, it sold a lot of copies. Yeah, because they keep putting it on sale. That doesn't mean anything, bro. Like, it's nowhere near the success of like Street Fighter 6 or even Tekken 8, I think, has been doing better. Like, Mortal Kombat 1 was like a complete clusterfuck, and like, yeah, it needs to be understood that like this IP is on the fritz. You know, it was like one of the only good Western IPs ever at one point. And now it's like kind of befalling this like rather unfortunate fate where it's just like, it's just massively held back by the modern state of the gaming industry. Like, maybe it'll recover once the culture changes and they actually get like, you know, competent people on board. But like, I am not optimistic that's going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years, you know? Like, I would like to get a hold of the license, and I would like to salvage it, you know? What I would do if I got a hold of it is that I would just, like, throw everything out and just make, like, a proper sequel to 9, you know, that builds off of that idea instead of doing what they do with 10. Like, that's what I would do if I got a hold of it, but, like, probably not going to happen. My brand is taking off. I'm focused on that right now. I'm not really interested in messing with other people's IPs. So, like, it is embarrassing, you know, to see like what state the franchise is in. When like I'm sitting here telling you for a fact that I can do better than this. Like, again, that's how you know you have a problem. Okay, like I just don't understand why so many people continue consuming this slop.